More and more adults are getting diagnosed with ADHD, and it's reshaping how we think about learning at every age.
Neurodiverse learners don't need separate pathways. They need an education system that welcomes and works for everyone from the start.
That's Dr. Sarah Ann Tompkins, Associate Dean at Colorado State University. ADHD isn't a limitation, it's a different way of thinking. Watch our social media series on getting diagnosed with ADHD and autism on our Instagram and YouTube channels.
It's the Connector Idaho Daily News on this Friday, May 16th. Good morning. I'm Troy Oppie in for George Prentice. This morning, Boise Mayor Lauren McLean gave her 5th State of the City address yesterday. We'll catch the highlights with James Dawson. Plus, the judge in the case against Bryan Kohberger, the man facing a potential death penalty for killing 4 University of Idaho students, has invited a special prosecutor in the case after a leak of sensitive information to a television program. And one of the most popular attractions at ZooBoise has a new home and twice the population. Those stories and lots more this morning on the Connector Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. We begin at the Ada County Courthouse yesterday, where the trial for the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in an off-campus residence 2 years ago is still months away. But Bryan Kohberger appeared in court yesterday as jury selection plans and other pretrial issues were sorted out. 4th District Judge Stephen Hippler also issued an order following the public portion of yesterday's hearing, indicating that some information broadcast nationally on a recent Dateline television episode should not have been public, and someone violated the long-existing gag order for anyone connected to the case. Hippler asked prosecutors in open court to recommend names to lead an investigation.
I would be open to a request for a appointment of a special prosecutor, and that special prosecutor to ask for a magistrate inquiry so they have the power of subpoena.
Hippler's written order suggests the leak came from someone currently or formerly involved in the investigation or prosecution of the case. Hippler ordered anyone connected to the case to preserve all documents or communications, and he gave prosecutors 7 days to turn over a list of anyone who had or may have had access to certain records related to the unreleased details that appeared on the television program. Separately yesterday, Hippler asked the defense to pre-file evidence they intend to use in a hearing next month, arguing a theory that an alternate perpetrator committed the murders. Kohberger could face the death penalty if convicted. Jury selection in that trial begins in late July. Former state representative and the first Native woman elected to the Idaho State House, Jean Givens, has died. Givens was a member of the Coeur d'Alene tribe. She represented Coeur d'Alene's District 4 for 2 terms starting in 1985, and then became the first Native woman in the United States to run for Congress. She lost that race to Larry Craig and would go on to serve on the North Idaho College Board of Trustees as a member and chair. She was 73. Boise Mayor Lauren McLean yesterday cheered on her city's progress in affordable housing, parks, and tackling homelessness over the past year. James Dawson reports this morning on McLean's 5th State of the City address.
McLean began her speech by calling out legislators at the State House and in Congress who add more restrictions to cities trying to serve their residents. Recent examples in Idaho include ratcheting up a statewide camping ban in large cities and de-emphasizing funding for pedestrian and bike infrastructure.
And while local government can rarely compete with or fully make up for state and federal government set on upending critical work, we can and we will do everything in our power to serve and protect Boise.
McLean says the city is living up to its promise to create affordable housing. A 102-unit project on State Street opens today, while another 200 apartments will be completed near St. Alphonsus later this year. She says Boise is also on track to meet its goal of providing 250 homes for those experiencing homelessness by 2026. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
The fate of an upgrade for the system that Idaho schools use to collect and analyze data on K-12 school and student populations is unclear. Federal funding planned to pay for it has been lost. Idaho Ed News reports the Idaho System for Educational Excellence collects school and student data. The multi-year upgrade process was a high priority for the State Board of Education. The State Board told districts the Trump administration cut pandemic-era relief funds that were central to the upgrade. It's expected to cost at least $14 million. The co-chair of the state's budget writing committee, Republican Representative Wendy Horman, told Ed News she didn't know the project had stalled, but hoped to find out, quote, what went wrong, noting that lawmakers had approved pandemic funding for the project and others multiple times since 2022. A potential land swap involving public property around Payette Lake is being negotiated between the State Department of Lands and the U.S. Forest Service. The McCall Star News reports a proposal has not been made public by the agencies, but details were found in a public records request. Information shows the state and feds trading some parcels to consolidate the current patchwork of parcel ownership in areas where IDL or Forest Service lands are isolated by lands owned by the other agency. Included in a potential swap is 2,200 acres of state endowment land around the north side of Payette Lake. The Forest Service has proposed trading land that includes 18,000 timber-producing acres in the New Meadows Ranger District. No formal proposal for a swap exists, but land use advocacy group United Payette wants public feedback on public lands management. They're planning to mail more than 6,000 surveys to area residents in the coming days. They say they'll collect survey responses through July and then share those with state and federal officials. United Payette partnered with the University of Idaho's College of Natural Resources to design what they say is an unbiased study. ZooBoise now has 2 new red pandas, doubling the population of one of the most popular animals at the zoo. They have a brand new home upgrade that they're enjoying as well. Abigail Moody has details.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Boise Mayor Lauren McLean, ZooBoise, and city staff held a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the new red panda exhibit, named after Virginia R. Bartok. Director of ZooBoise, Jean Peacock, says Bartok, who lived in Caldwell and loved animals, enjoyed the improvements the zoo was making.
And when she passed away, she gave us a gift to make this exhibit possible.
The new enclosure has 3 outdoor sections, all measuring over 1,000 square feet, and overhead chutes to connect them.
The exhibit is designed so we can move pandas all the way around the exhibit and they never cross paths. And we also wanted the exhibit so people could pass underneath and kind of immerse themselves in it.
The zoo has doubled its red panda population by bringing in 2 new residents. Both were seen exploring their new enclosure during the ceremony and eating a bamboo breakfast. Long-term resident red pandas, Stevie and Jasper, now live across the way from their new neighbors. Nikki Boyd, a founding member of the Red Panda Network, an organization that does conservation work primarily in Nepal, says her organization has received $150,000 in donations from ZooBoise. These funds have gone to projects like forest restoration in Nepal.
We do community-based conservation work, so we create sustainable livelihoods for a lot of the local people. And we do things like ecotourism, which gives them a reason to want to save the animals and the habitats in Nepal.
Mayor Lauren McLean shared that
with every person that comes in here, we're making a difference in terms of conservation around the world, even here in Boise, and around the country.
A new gift store and exit route were created alongside the Red Panda's apartments. Construction on the small animal kingdom will continue and is projected to be available for the public to explore this fall. Abigail Moody, Boise State Public Radio News.
Today is the final day of early in-person voting ahead of next week's consolidated election. Most city halls in Ada County have early voting stations. County courthouses are other common locations for early voting. You'll want to check your county's elections website. School and emergency service levies are on the ballot in many places, library and auditorium district races too, but not every voting district has an issue on the ballot. Elections officials say you should check your sample ballot online to know before you go. You can find that at idahovotes.gov. And finally this morning, a correction to a story from yesterday's Connector. In the election next week for the Meridian Library District Board of Trustees, there are 4 candidates for 2 open seats in that district, not 1. And absentee ballots cannot be returned to any polling place. Those are due 8 p.m. on Election Day next Tuesday, but drop boxes are at election headquarters and some city hall locations in Ada County. Thanks for listening to The Connector, Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. I'm Troy Oppie. Hope you have a great weekend.